Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back. Welcoming you to the Tuesday Tussle for this Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. We're calling this episode Evaluating Talent in Boxing. Yeah. You know, that's an important factor when it comes to viewing the sport, covering the sport, participating in the sport, whether it be from a professional or casual or merely novice point of view. It is imperative that, excuse me, being able to evaluate talent goes a great distance in one being able to digest and learn the sport from the inside out. Excuse me, I got a bit of a throat irritation. One moment. That stems from this morning on my commute to work. I was eating a bagel sandwich and I was eating too fast. And I think a piece of the food went down the wrong pipe. And I've been coughing on that all day long. So forgive me. I'm trying to make it through. I'm drinking some water. But anyway, being able to evaluate, make assessments of what, not only what you're witnessing, viewing, what's happening, the transpiring of events, and becoming familiar with the scenarios so that you can understand not only what will play out, but how things play out. That's important. But it's interesting that no matter how many color analysts you have, former fighters who participated and or trainers, they get it wrong a lot, don't they? When you're watching the broadcast and you hear these guys' assessments, it's really weird how that transpires. I believe it comes from a place of ownership, what one wants to happen as opposed to what is actually taking place. And it's a weird thing. And therefore, that's why a number of those people get things wrong, but they never even allow themselves to be corrected in it. They just roll with that. I don't understand that. How do you elevate and get better if you don't want to take into account where you may have missed certain points? It's important to understand that. Yeah. So we got my brother EJ out there with the Rumble rant. He says, for the Tuesday tussle, Sensei, your knowledge and wisdom is greatly appreciated. Heavyweight. Yes, sir. Thank you. Do a quick roll call to see who we got in the building. We're multi-streaming this evening on YT as well as on Rumble. For everyone that's over in Rumble, thank you so much. We will get to you in just a second. We got EJ over here doing double duty. Welcome down. Van Houter's in the building. Salute to you. And on Rumble, we got Universal Truth. We got Jamal Davis. Of course, EJ. And this is one evening where there's a multi-stream, but primarily the lives and everything will be going straight to Rumble. I did it on YT for a reason. And even if I do it here, it won't be all the time, but the majority of the time, there will be just a few minutes to offer YT, and then it'll be strictly Rumble. So that'll be that, and that's a choice. Yeah, so smash the like button as you come in. As I decided to do this particular show, I did extend an invitation to one of the brothers out there if he's able to come in. He told me he may be available, but we'll find out if he did. His link has already been sent, so we'll see if he's able to make it or not. LPRN sliding into the back of the class. I see you out there. Yeah, one of the things, like I got this little image here, and it's a pretty cool image because what you see here, this was a piece that was made a couple years ago, featuring 3 of the top young fighters who had gone quickly from prospect to contending and titles. The irony is they were all prospects when this image was compiled. And right now, they're all champions. And you got Bam Rodriguez, who's out there front and center. He's an undisputed champion. You got Xander Zayas, who has just become a unified champion. And of course, you got Abdullah Mason, who is a world champion and titleist. This is great because these are 3 of the young talents that when you see these men fight, way before they have achieved the glory of the sport, you could assess that they came to their careers with something, a little extra. It's in their performance. It's in the way that they carry themselves. And it's in the way that they have accepted their roles and the path that they walk. That's an admirable quality that the 3 of them, close in age, by the way, but they all have something along the lines of what this evening's subject is about. And sometimes you just got to give it up for people. You can't put the cart before the horse, but you do have to understand that the cart and the horse can work together if the reins are placed properly. And my goodness, between these 3 men right here, Xander is new to the club. However, with the potential that they all have, they could lead the next few years in crowd-pleasing matchups, performances that will dictate and show dynamic ability, and the way that they all are handling the press. You know, that goes with it, people. To be able to speak appropriately when it's presented to you the opportunity, and represent as if you have a lot on the line, not only to lose, but to add to. These men have that going for themselves. And as I was looking for images to compile for this evening's show, I'm like, this one right here is pretty darn good, because I could tap into it and begin to state my claim. And this doesn't have to be a one-off show evaluating talent in boxing, because there are so many others in the sport. I have a premiere that's coming up for Thursday morning, and featured on that premiere will be Nikisa Badarian and Jake Paul's MVP W number 2, slated for Friday on ESPN. And with this poster that we have here, it's a virtual who's who of the young dynamic fighters in women's boxing. So many names under one umbrella, it's going to be hard to not make the fights that the public would want to see. And they just a couple of weeks ago kicked off their first card with Caroline Dubois taking on Terry Hart as a main event. This weekend, on Friday, the 17th, we've got Alicia Baumgardner taking on Bomi Rinshin. This is what the people ask for, quality matchups. And a lot of times you could have a favor going in, but most of these bouts are 60-40, 50-50 type bouts. And even when someone suffers on the setback end of taking a L, they are still in position to leap right back into the fray because of the talent and the talent pool. So with the women right now, it's evaluation is quite easy. First of all, the majority of them are stepping up to the plate to face the competition. There's only a couple who are moving a little funny that's kind of reminiscent of what you're seeing in the men's division of boxing. And the irony is a couple of them are the more prominent names. Yeah, how about that? I won't point them out to you this evening, but if you've been paying attention, you know who they are. And that's okay, because the window of opportunity is open. But the road to acceptance of legacy is quite narrow. So we're going to see in short time how that plays out. And hats off to these gentlemen, Bedarian and Paul, for putting something like this together. The women couldn't have asked for anything better. And it's nice to see that there has been a full investment into them, because you had some promoters who were really against supporting women's boxing, and others who got involved simply because there was a press to do it. I won't say that they were forced, but they kind of gave in to it. And then you had others who were always from the start trying to promote it and everything, but needed a class of individuals to participate so that they could have something to show. So with MVPW, we're seeing all of that come together, because you got various weight classes here, and you have some big names, some names that are kind of been around for a while, veterans, some who are yet awaiting their opportunity at stardom. And that's great. So we have to acknowledge and take that in. My brother Stephen L. the Mac is in the building. What's good with you, bro? Now, this image I picked up is quite interesting too, because at the time that it was made, it was after Crawford had become the undisputed super middleweight title holder after defeating Saul Canelo Alvarez. But look at the talent surrounding him, and just imagine Bud fading to black, right? While these other three are right in the thick of things. You got David Benavidez, who's going to move up to cruiserweight to challenge Zurdo Ramirez for his cruiserweight title, and says he's going to come right back down to light heavyweight after being successful there. That's quite ambitious. Then, of course, here's Bam Rodriguez again, who is now thinking of moving up because one of the dream opportunities for the followers of the sport is to see Bam go in against Monster Inoue. That would be something. So we have to look forward to that. And of course, we got Shitty Cuz there. Can't leave him out because his name is hot on the lips of the people who cover the sport presently, all because of a victory over Teofimo Lopez. Now, you see how putting a fight together will allow for someone's career to be springboarded into the spotlight, and you don't always know who's the person who could catapult them. But this is why the matchups need to happen. Now, Teo should have fought Devin Haney long ago, but he didn't want to go that route. You know why? Because he wasn't confident. For whatever reason, he felt that I could get in there against Shakur, and maybe he doesn't have the KO power to get rid of me. So that's not necessarily the kind of threat, and I could live with a decision loss. But not only did he receive that decision loss, he looked pretty crappy against Shakur and made Shakur look a lot better than what is truly advertised. Yeah. So these are the kind of things that you pay attention to. Now we got Del Riv in the building. Also, Joseph Townsend. What's good with you, brothers? I'm glad you all stopped in. Please hit that like button as you come into the building. And thank you for joining. Yeah, so talent is in abundance in boxing. And when you have certain representatives, I mean, the sport looks great. Going over the current ratings for pound through BoxRec. Now, there's many sources where you can get pound for pound listing. So I'm just gonna go with BoxRec right now. That doesn't even mean that I support or am in agreement with what they've accrued for their list, because there's some names on the list that really shouldn't be on there for whatever reason. You know, it's different reasons. But at number 1, they placed Monster Inoue. Now, that's definitely an argument ready to happen, right? Enough said. And then at number 2, they got Shitty Cuz. At number 3, they have Bud Crawford, who's retired, but at the same time, you know, they keep sticking him up there because they figure, you know, maybe he'll get full of himself and decide to come back. At number 4, there's Junto Nakatani, the rival of Inoue, whom has a fight coming up with Inoue soon. Excuse me. At number 5, we've got Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, Ennis, okay. When will we see this young man fight other prominent fighters? I mean, with 35 victories and no losses, I think Stanionis might be the only real name, even more so than Karen. At number 6, right behind Boots, is Saul Canelo Alvarez. Snoopy Mac, what's good with you? At number 7 is the man that Saul always ran away from, and David Benavidez. At number 8 is Bam Rodriguez. Now, let me stop right there for a moment. Bam Rodriguez being at number 8 with what he has done in those lower weights, even more so than Monster Inoue. I don't know. Some people don't watch the little guys. I watch the sport of boxing. And Bam is a throwback to some of the guys that I watched years ago, like Ricardo Lopez. A damn good fighter, technically sound, very resilient, able to adjust and make adjustments on the fly during the middle of a fight. He has a mixture of beating contemporaries as well as veterans and former world titleists. His resume is peppered with enough seasoning that it really has a bold, tangy flavor to it. And that's only 23 fights in his career. 23. I'm only 23. Remember that? I bet you do. At number 9 behind Bam is Devin Haney, who interestingly should be higher, but at least he's in there. At number 10, we have Alexander Usyk. Now, why is Usyk still on pound for pound list? I don't know. Maybe it's they want to just give him credit because he came up from cruiserweight to beat two of the top heavyweights in the division of this era, 2 times each. And that would be Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. So if he could come up from cruiserweight and whoop those 2 guys' asses, what is that to say about those 2 guys? Truly, who just last weekend we saw that Fury made a becking call to AJ, and AJ was like, "You're not the boss of me. You can't tell me what to do. I am going to go sit down next to Ed Hearn and he'll tell me what to do." Whatever. Dude, that's a song that has played for 10 years and nobody listens to the tune anymore. To be perfectly honest, there's a handful of people who care whether AJ continues and resumes his career, as well as equally there's a handful of people who don't give a damn about Tyson Fury and whatever he does next. But it just goes to show really how much of a scam has been run on the boxing public. Because why would I want to see these 2 dudes now that they're 36 and 37 years old when I could have watched them when they was like 31 and 32? Seriously. It's something for people to pay attention to. 88 Sports Talk, what's good with you, brother? Jamal Davis says, I love the smaller fighters. I was a big Rigo fan. They did that man so dirty. Yes, they did. They did him dirty. They did he dirty. They did King Kong Ortiz dirty. They're doing Frank Sanchez dirty presently. And we're keeping our eye out for what they do with Aslis Iglesias. Because as quiet as it's kept, even though he won these titles against Pavel Silyagin, there were a handful of fighters that turned the opportunity down to face him, including Christian and Billy. You know, in order to become a world titleist, sometimes you might have to face someone who is a stiff challenge, and they are not ready to easily give that title away. But I'm going to tell you something that I noticed while we're talking about evaluating talent in boxing. Some of these guys, they like to pick up vacant titles. Vacant, meaning that they don't have to win the title from a sitting champion or titleist. To me, that's a watered down situation. I want to go in against a guy who's had at least a few defenses, huh? Because he has had a run and a reign. Facing guys for vacant titles, and it's usually never a 50-50 fight with that scenario. That's usually in favor of someone that they've been holding a seat for, that they want to fight for the title, and then someone that they throw in as that regulated opponent. So, yeah, Jamal Davis, they did Lara dirty as well. Lara is currently like 42, 43 years old and still whooping people's butts, and they don't want to put guys in there with him. He's fighting like once a year, and they're hoping that he ages by like 1 year is equivalent of 3 or 4 years. So it is like they don't want to. We'll test him next year, huh? Why don't they stop that stuff, man? And Janibek decided that he wanted to put a whole pharmacy in his veins so he wouldn't have to face Lara. Now, some people say, oh, man, Janibek would have killed Lara. Why didn't he get in the ring with him then? Why is he out there putting banned substances in his body? And remember, he said he will be vindicated. Guess what, y'all? He was stripped. He was stripped. Give me that belt, you cheat. But the WBO stands by their man. Man, if you don't get out of here, you old corrupt sanctioning bodies, man. The dude is a drug cheat. And they thought they was going to sneak him in there on Bud. Yeah, get in there and get him. Here's a little extra boost for you. But that damn cycling caught up to his ass. And Bud said, I gotta go. Yeah, evaluating the talent in boxing, huh? This is what we're doing. We're going on. You see how Stormy brings these subjects out? Listen. These young men that I got featured on the screen right here, they are the real deal. These are young men who are prosperous and ready to take it on, you know, and become someone. These other dudes that are juicing and cheating and juicing and lying and juicing and making excuses and ducking and juicing. I mean, goodness gracious, huh? Cut it out. Yeah. Dudes got syringe marks as they get on the scale for weighing in. Yeah. Oh, I feel like I'm going to pass out. Chump, you didn't pass out through training. Oh, that was because you were full of that stuff. And you was trying to get the last of it out your system, and it made your system crash. So now you had to go to the hospital. And then they take the rest of it out your body when they give you that IV. There's no IVs. Yeah. Salute to Devin Haney with the 24/7 365. Huh? Do we know how many men are in the men's division of boxing? World-class level. I guess they'll give you like a top 50, right? Something like that. How is it Devin is the only one enrolled in 365? How is it? The only one. It's just weird, isn't it? So when you're evaluating talent, please do so without the goodie bag, huh? Don't include them that got the goodie bag, because the goodie bag is a cheat sheet, huh? Yeah. See, there's a new thing to define the cheaters too. Catch weight. Yeah. See, that catch weight thing is like, see if you could catch me cycling, huh? Because if I could just cut this certain poundage, I'm good. But if I go beyond that, then I may pop, huh? I may pop. The real dudes don't worry about catch weights, do they? They just say, hey, where do I sign? Huh? Did Bud worry about a catch weight with Canelo? 3 weight classes he jumped. It was really 2, but they don't like to, they want to overemphasize and make it more dramatic by saying 3 because he was undisputed at welter. He wasn't undisputed at junior middle, and he wasn't undisputed at middle. So he jumps on up there, puts both Timberlands all up in Canelo's taco. And Canelo said himself, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything. He's got a lot of power and a lot of ability. He owned me. Please give my belts back. Yeah. Y'all seen Canelo in them latest clips of him in the gym? The boy's cheeks so fat he looked like a chimp bump, huh? He must be on that what's the dude name he fought over there from the UK that nobody likes? he going that route, putting on all that extra weight. I never saw Canelo cheeks look so rosy and fat. He looked more fat then than he did at any other time when he was fighting at lower weights and put on weight. He just didn't. Bud really took his soul. You know, he really did. If you look closely, when you see Bud walking somewhere, you might see this dark shadow following him. That's not his shadow that he cast on the floor. That's the spirit of Canelo. Yeah. The spirit of Canelo following Bud around.
Are you ready to feel the Mexican power, Terrence?
Yeah. That's one we'll forever be able to write on the board, man. That was some great stuff right there. Great stuff, man. He had Canelo saying he didn't want to fight no more. They asked him after the fight, you want a rematch? He was like, nah, I think I'm going to go fishing. It was only months later that he come back and act like he want to fight again. Like, hey, come on, Terrence, don't retire. Come on, give me my rematch. Yeah, right. If Terrence said, okay, he would be like, I got a wrist injury. I can't sign the contract. My wrist is sprained. But back to evaluating his talent, man. You know? I'd say these 3 dudes right here are 3 good candidates for what's on the horizon for the future, you know? Not only them, but it's a nice nucleus, huh? In the UK, they're really high on Moses Atuma. I don't know why, man. It's like And I'm not I hate to use this term, but I'm not a hater of Ituma. It's just that with all the boxing that I've watched in my life, he doesn't strike me the way he has stricken the UK fan base. And you should have known that there was something underlying there with him, because for a little while there, they were really pushing him towards a possible title shot with Usyk before he made his 21st birthday, because they wanted to try to see if they could get him a world title before he turned 21, because that would have broke Mike Tyson's record, right? But he wasn't able to do so. So now they've kind of backpedaled. And after the Dillian White fight, even though he stopped White in one round, they were very hesitant about putting him in against another veteran heavyweight. And you know why that is? It's because most of them are not going to go down and give their forehead up to a puncher like Dillian White did. Most of them are going to fight back, and that's when he going to run into some trouble. Moses is like, I haven't even evaluated where I would place him like another heavyweight, maybe from the past. But I know they continue to mismatch him, even though there's a stable of fighters over there in Warren's heavyweight division that would give him a good go. See, in the UK, they're more looking at guys who they could market and get behind the machine of, you know, advertising and everything. But that's short-lived anyway. But to get a quality fighter that is learning on the grow and is becoming better each outing and everything, progressing, it's like they don't have time for that in the UK. He's a handsome lad, and we want to see him, you know, be a superstar. It's like, you didn't say you want to see him be the best fighter, or you want him to become undisputed or something. I want to see him be a superstar. What's a superstar? A dude that runs around in the audience shaking hands with the folks that's in the auditorium, and, you know, listening to everybody pat him on the back, tell him how great he is and everything. And he got, when you pat him on the back and you feel that thin wallet that he carrying, and you realize that all he was doing was fighting some stiffs and cadavers. Yeah. Get him out of here. Man. Talking about Deontay Wilder is a tune-up for him. That's what Ed Hearn said. I'm like, dude, what about Daniel Dubois? What is Dubois to him? God? Because he sure struck him down, didn't he? Lay down, sucker. Where were those sexperts when AJ was laying on the canvas? The same dudes who were saying he's not ready for Wilder. A couple more fights before Wilder. Wilder doesn't deserve. It's like, would you stop it already? You done said that shit like for a decade. It's ridiculous, man. Totally ridiculous. Jamal says, We had two cheaters fighting last Saturday. Both of them didn't knock their opponents out. Dirty Fury and Connor. What happened to the power? Listen, Connor Ben, did you see him and Regis Prograis face and heads after that fight? Connor Ben must have head clashed Regis a minimum of 10 times in that fight. The dude looked like somebody been tapping on his skull with a damn, what they call it, a nutcracker. Tat, tat, tat. Oh, my head. $225. What's good with you? And Jamal says, see, Canelo should have fought Benavidez. If he lost, it wouldn't have been any shame in it because David is a big guy, but he fought the smaller Bud and lost. Yep. He bit off more than his ass can handle, huh? That's all that was. He wished. You know, you say, I wish a ninja would. That was Canelo over there selling wolf tickets and everything. Now he's selling enchiladas out of a truck. And eating most of them, too. Yeah! Jimmy Bernard, what's good? Adrian Vitt, I see you out there. Yeah, man. Yeah, Canelo driving a food truck now. Canelo's chorizo. You don't sit your ass down somewhere ducking mugs for the longest time in there fighting guys that didn't nobody want to see you in the ring with. And people was pulling for Bud just because he was the smaller guy. But wise men say only fools rush in. Listen, when Bud signed to fight that dude, I was like, it's on and popping now. Canelo is done. You know why? Because not only can Bud box like Floyd boxed Canelo, which he had a hell of a hard time winning rounds against Floyd, but Bud got a little bit of a mean streak in him. And I talked about this leading up to that fight. I said that Canelo ain't never fought a guy like Bud with that same type of temperament matched with the abilities that he brings to the ring and the whole enchilada about wanting what Canelo has. Yep. Handled his ass. Jamal says, Moses ain't no 80s Mike Tyson. I hate when they compare these hype jobs to legends. They don't even let them listen, check this out, Jamal and chat. They don't even let the guys get 10 fights under their belt now. They just be, woohoo, yeah, that he's going to do it. He's going to be the next man. I'm like, dude, the dude is 6-0. Mike Tyson had like 28 fights when he fought for the heavyweight championship against Trevor Berbick. How is this dude going to be the world titleist with 12 or 13 fights? If you don't get out of my face, man. And he gonna have Mozzie problems in a year or two. Watch, because Mozzie gonna be right there, huh? And since he like to have that little fro that European fro that he wear, huh? Mozzie got a real fro, huh? You see when Mozzie take his braids out, I thought he was one of the Silvers. Yeah, Mr. Cheeks, you out there? That boy got some long hair. He shape it up, man. Give him one of them Jim Kelly type cuts from Black Belt Jones, and then you really be on something, man. We got a dude with an afro too, UK. You understand me? They be hyping them. They just look at the dude on the scale. They be like 6'4.5" and 200 pounds, you know. They be like, you know. My fault. Got a phone call coming. Sorry about that. Yeah, man. But that's what it's going to be. You know, these dudes be out there barely got their feet wet. And they be like, yeah, I see, you know, a future Hall of Famer. I'm like, based on what? The smells coming from his armpits? Man. Yeah, man. But I don't give him them type of accolades. He ain't never been tagged in the ring. He ain't never had to go 10. He ain't never been, you know, in there with somebody that want to win more than he do. You know? They keep fooling around. And that's not a good thing. He needs seasoning. It's good to be able to knock people out and everything, but can you fight? Huh? Can you fight though? Can you follow a game plan? Can you, you know? Yeah, they just, you know, I don't know. There's something else that can be done in order for this to work the proper way. But this is not it. This is not it, bro. They're doing it. So it's not it. But I think I'll have another part to this because there are more fighters to talk about and circumstances to bring out and bring about the exposure of the lack of evaluation of talent with the so-called sexperts, because they're not evaluating based on the true merits of the sport. When you see a guy, he can show you the ability to make adjustments. When a guy can show you that he has stamina, when a guy can show you he could be a thinking fighter in there and he doesn't like do the silly things of getting caught with punches that you shouldn't get caught with because your hands aren't up and so forth. If you can't cut the ring off on a guy, if you can't move laterally, even moving into action or away from action, things of that nature, things that would require him to show something, some substance. You know, we're not getting that from a lot of these guys. They're underdeveloped. And then when they get into title circumstances, a lot of times they may win a title or whatever, but they don't hold the title or retain the title. And when they're at lower weight classes, one of the ways that they avoid taking L's is they'll move up and vacate. When things get a little hot and heavy where they are, they want to move. Yeah. And moving is not the answer either. Sometimes you got to buckle down and, you know, be able to make the adjustments and get better. Huh? That's what that's all about. So but yeah, those hype jobs, man, they do it to death, don't they? Especially the UK, man. The way that they hype people, it's like unreal. Truman Show fight camp. What are they doing? That's like even over here when they were talking about Jared Anderson, I was like, nope. It was like, man, Stormy, he's the best young heavyweight the U.S. got. I was like, nope. Nope. And he started coming to the ring wearing pimp outfits and stuff. I was like, oh, no. It really ain't going to happen. But the crack in the foundation was when he went on with Roy Jones and he was crying, but I'm only 23. I said, there you go. It's coming out. Some of y'all was like, oh, shoot, did he really say that? I was like, yeah, he said it. He get ready to show you something else, too. Then he showed the not so smarts taking the fight against Martin Bacoli. I was like, oh, this is it right here. Bacoli got him. Yep. Victimized. But that's it, man. You know. Tried to tell you. But man, that hour goes by fast, doesn't it, fam? I appreciate everybody that came in tonight. We had a few people in both chats. Thank you so much. And I will revisit this particular topic because there's so much more to say. And we'll get that off. So, but we're going to get ready to get out of here. You know. Shout out to the mighty LDBC, you guys. And check out them premieres. Got premieres coming up the next 3 mornings. And leave comments and everything. Let Stormy know what you think about the subjects and what's being said. Huh? Well, yeah. We're gonna get on out of here, guys. I'm gonna take you back with a little bit of some retro stuff. But again, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace to everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week.